The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
All right, welcome to Old Space Show. I'm Brandon, and this is my companion,
Russell McGee.
This series of Old Space Show follows the semi-antastic adventures of Galen and his two astronaut pals, Alan and Peter, as they wade their way through the futuristic Earth in the short-lived television version of Planet of the Apes. Today, we discuss the 9th episode, The Horse Race.
Alan agrees to race a chimpanzee prefect's horse against Orko's best horse in exchange for a condemned boy's freedom. Orko has never lost a race, but of course, as Alan finds out, Orko doesn't play fair. Despite Orko's treachery and cheating, Alan prevails in the end.
All right. This episode, our 9th episode here, is directed by Jack Starrett, written by David P. Lewis and Booker Bradshaw. Stars Roddy McDowall, Ron Harper, James Naughton, Mark Leonard, Morgan Woodward, John Hoyt, Richard Devon, and Harry Levin. We have Starrett here, the director. He directed Cleopatra Jones. He also directed Slaughter, so he's kind of in that blaxploitation range here. Cleopatra Jones is like the ultimate knockoff of like a Pam Grier movie. But she got a sequel while like none of Pam Grier had just a vibe that went through a bunch of movies. She was the franchise, but Cleopatra Jones was a character. She got a sequel, Cleopatra Jones and the Casino of Gold. This guy directed the first one. He did Starsky and Hutch episodes, Hill Street Blues. He acted in Race with the Devil, Blazing Saddles, First Blood, The River, Knight Rider, Hunter, and A-Team. He's kind of a Western guy they brought, I believe, onto this one. So there's kind of a vibe here with that. Lewis, one of the writers, he wrote for Columbo. He wrote the movie Death Ship. Bradshaw, who is the other writer, he wrote a lot with Lewis. And he acted in The Girl from U.N.C.L.E., the TV show Tarzan. He was in Star Trek, Dr. M'Benga in That Which Survives, and A Private Little War. He was in the FBI. Coffee, another connection here with the blaxploitation movies. And he did voices on Alvin and the Chipmunks and a show I don't remember, a cartoon called The Laser Tag Academy.
You say that, and now I'm like, I actually do remember. Like,
I looked it up, and I was like, this looks rad.
Well, there was a lot of shows like that, dude, that came out in the 80s. Like, you had like Captain N and all that. But yeah.
Would you remember like the Canadian show Captain Power, where you like shot at the screen and stuff? It had like a reflective thing, and he had this gold costume.
That one I don't remember.
Okay. Someday, maybe Old Space Show Captain Power will come to light. See if that holds up.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. So Woodward, he was the guest star in this one. He was Boss Godfrey in Cool Hand Luke, the guy with the big aviator shades. He's in this movie. He was on the Lucy Show. He was in Star Trek in episodes The Omega Glory and Dagger of the Mind. He did the Western Circuit, Kung Fu. He had a recurring character on Hill Street Blues. He's on Dukes of Hazzard, A-Team, Fall Guy. He played Punk Anderson on Dallas. He was in Days of Our Lives, The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., the show Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas, The X-Files, and Millennium. He got to do both of those. So this guy's had himself a career probably based off the success of Cool Hand Luke, a lot of it, because like, oh, we got the Shades guy. And that'll last you for a good long time. He did Walking Tall movies. Oh, the Logan's Run TV show. He was in that too.
Oh.
but yeah, he's pretty big guest star here, to be honest with you. Then and we have like a lot of Hill Street Blues connections coming on too. Hoyt here, another guest star. He previously was in The Gladiators. He was in the movie Spartacus, Brute Force, Hogan's Heroes, Get Smart, The Monkees, Daniel Boone. He was in the Cage episode of Star Trek. The Cage. That was a big one.
Classic. Yeah.
Beverly Hillbillies, The Munsters, Outer Limits, Hitchcock Hour. I just like saying TV titles that make me giddy. He was in X, The Man with X-Ray Eyes. That old school. Yeah. 2 episodes of Twilight Zone and The Thin Man. Like, dang. And then lastly, our other guest star, Devin, did voices for the Ewoks cartoon. Was played Rika in Magnum Force. Did 3 episodes of Mission Impossible, was on the FBI, Mannix, Virginian, Lancer, another Get Smart alumni here, Monkeys, Perry Mason, Fugitive, Twilight Zone, the original 310 to Yuma, and Dragnet. Dragnet gets to show up here. So, yeah, pretty stacked little episode here. Like they were maybe going for something a little bigger, or thought with all the actual horse racing in this that they needed to up the production value, guest star and director-wise, I think.
Well, you brought up Hoyt. The thing that was cool here is we had a secondhand character that came back from Gladiators. Yeah. So the prefect from Gladiators is now the prefect in this area where we're coming to with the horse race, because he's been reassigned.
Yeah. And I think I want to put the direction on this one does stand out from the others we've seen a bit. There's some camera movements, angles, and lighting that feels bigger than the other episodes, and feels there's some movie-like things. There's some like naturally lit interior scenes with candlelight and things that really make this feel different and a bit more prestige than normal in times. Yes, there's a lot that feels like TV. You're not going to get away from that, but there's plenty of it that feels elevated from what we've seen before.
No, but this is also during that time where everything was shot on film too, which
right, yeah.
If they ever were to release this on Blu-ray, it definitely would have that quality.
Right.
And you'd probably see more of like what you're describing in what we would see in a better transfer. The other thing that like I read up on this is that he not only was he a Western director, but like he interjected more comedy into this episode in particular, which was a completely different like way of going with the episodes than we'd seen.
Right.
So yeah.
There's good close-ups in this as well. I was noticing a lot more technical stuff in this one than others a little bit. Not so much noticing as much more, but the frequency with which the craft was being utilized seemed a bit more consistent throughout. We had it's kind of interesting. These guys just kind of stick themselves out here in this scenario that happens here, like real names, no disguises, no backstories that are, Galen, everybody just kind of go all in. And it's weird, but I guess there's no way to get out like these pictures. The apes have a very primitive tech. So if they go to a far enough away village, word, if it had traveled, their descriptions are probably generic, and Galen can be like, "Oh, I'm some other ape," like just kind of interesting. But when they do get to the horse race, he just cover himself in mud because Urko shows up and they're like, "Okay, he knows who we are."
Yeah, and it's interesting, and we see a little more of this over the next couple episodes. Orko's character ends up being more of the butt of the jokes as far as like over the next couple episodes. Is like he's not as like a menace as he was early on because of the way that they're reframing the character, and it's interesting like what they're doing with the politics as far as the horse racing with him here, and that he's like trying to actually make a profit outside of like Ape City by doing this whole like horse racing thing on the side. And Urko kind of becoming a joke. It's kind of much like Spike in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where he was the most terrifying person in the world, but
you can't make him that terrifying again. So what you do is to show the power of the next big villain or something like that, you got to take him down a bit more, and the comedic approach kind of works there. But yeah, there's a whole dynamic, and having been through as much as we have when we're talking about this episode, Russell and I are a bit further down in this recording block. So wonder where it could have gone with Urko.
Yeah.
Because he's far more than they're starting to give him far more stuff to do than just be this brute that shows up and chases him every episode. There's a purpose with it each time, or a dimension added to his appearances.
Well, and that goes into what I was saying as far as like he has more to his character as far as him running the horse racing gambling thing on the side to profit by it. And we also talked about this in the last 2 episodes, I think. It really feels, Brandon, like things are finally like taking off, and it's sad that it took this long to get to the point where like the show's really starting to fire on all cylinders and work.
Like, I don't even think of the ones where we're at right now that this is even one of the best of those, but it's still better than what was before. Like, if this is like the generic whatever episode, it's still pretty solid,
No, but this still builds on like what Ron Harper's character had done earlier, as far as we've established he's a farmer. We've established things about him and how he has like relationships with his family and everything. And they build on that in that he is an able horseman. And so he knows how to handle a horse, has known that since age 7 is what they establish here. And like, so that's how he's able to jump in and help as far as trying to save the blacksmith's son.
Yeah. Because there's a son that's captured here, and it's like, we're gonna kill him, and they get involved in the race. And the
whole reason he gets captured in the first place is he's actually trying to save Galen's life.
Right.
Because like humans aren't supposed to ride on horses at all. And so like he has to, like, there's what they said, because of the scorpion bite, he would have had 9 minutes or something to live. So like he had to literally race into town to get the antidote so Galen would actually be able to live. Right.
And Alan's like, I'm gonna ride. Alan jumps in to ride to challenge, and he doesn't challenge Urko at first, right? It's supposed to be a different one, and then they step in. But it's funny to watch the preparation too for this, because the humans are like making horseshoes, doing all this, and the apes are just setting up traps out in the concourse. It's like a different approach to each to guarantee it. Because but the father becomes traitorous to help Urko to just guarantee his son's safety.
Well, yeah, but there's also the twist that he overhears Urko and his men saying that they're going to still kill Verdun when he comes across the finish line, no matter what.
Right. If the human is winning, kill him before he reaches the finish line. If the human is losing, kill him after he reaches the finish line. I love racing. I wrote that whole one. I was like, that's pretty good, Urko. That's pretty good, dude. Yeah. The big horse race, man. It has some really nice race coverage and editing here, like surprising for the show. Like this, I don't know if I would say like big movie quality, but there's a lot of movies in the 70s that couldn't do this, because this is the point. The 70s have a lot of movies that look like TV too. That's kind of a like your vanilla movies, like just as stale as like TV. Like you'd rather be watching a TV movie than watching some of the bad stuff from the 70s. Like there's no, because like you said, they both use film. But they were both kind of using them to similar effect at the time. But yeah, this pretty impressive horse stuff that I wouldn't have expected from this show. Like,
and you kind of like went off on this a little bit, is that it's funny because so many of the actors at this time knew how to ride horseback and were trained for that.
Because they're all doing Bonanza, the Virginian, all those shows. Like you got to know that's like dancing, like for the stage. If you're on the stage, sing, dance, act, got to know them all three. Here you had to like ride a horse. Like that was.
And Ron Harper talked about that, again, doing my homework, and that he like really enjoyed, this was one of his favorite episodes because of the horse racing. And he said that he talked with the stunt double because like he did all of the horse riding for himself, but he talked to the stunt double that was riding against him, and he was like, "What? You're really good. Why are you so good?" And the stunt double for the ape turned around and basically said, "It's my bag, babe."
Oh man. Yeah, imagine the turn where it's like, what do you mean you don't know how to ride a horse? And you call yourself an actor?
Right.
Like, oh my. This episode gets really nuts at the end. There's like Peter goes to freeze a kid and he does like a jump kick. I was like,
oh yeah, he does.
That was awesome. But yeah, it gets pretty nuts towards the end with the confrontation of what was going to be Alan winning, the Frida, and that fight, get the kid back. But winds up in everybody just frolicking the field, now friends as they leave when they do it. But what'd you say?
I was gonna say, you said something about getting the kid back. Something that I forgot about until you just mentioned that with the drop kick is there was another little turn as far as Urko's deviousness, and that he said, "What do humans do whenever they are let go? They run."
Right.
And so you can shoot him, essentially, is what he's setting up for the end. And so the son, like when they go and the guard actually watching him opens up the gate, and the son knows something's up because like he's telling him that he's released and free.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. This one, it just, even though it's not great, it's paced really well.
Yeah.
Like there's not much to this episode, but it moves. Something's happening. The dialogue is pretty snappy with each other, direct, and yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
You're right. There's not much to it, but it's a fun episode just to watch because the horse racing, the camera angles and lighting, as you said, it's got a lot going for it.
Right. I mean, this should be ideally like, and I don't mean it as a dog on the episode, but this should be the worst of the worst, like this should be the lowest quality of the show right here, but it's not. It's one of the higher quality ones of if we put it all together so far. But this should be the bar of like just rando screw off episode that, it's fun. Like I'm a fan of you needing to have those episodes. There's a lot of character that can happen. Like I always point to, Lost, the one where Hurley makes a golf course out of the island, nothing big happens in that episode, but it's got a lot of fun character stuff. That might have been the Numbers one though, where everybody's like addicted to his flashback, but on the island, they just were making a golf course and stuff. Like you need to have those sometimes. That's what you lose. That's what you lose when you strictly serialize things or can cut some episode things down. But at least sometimes we get the Calm Before the Storm episodes that are good, like The Fly, Breaking Bad. But a lot of the Netflix shows use those as flashback. That's every like penultimate or second or third to last episode of a Netflix show will be a flashback to the bad guy, to something. Like it's always a flashback.
The worst for me is I love Stargate, but like those friggin' recap episodes, I cringe every time I go and revisit.
Yeah.
But
that's the horse race here. But now it's time to take our stinking paws off this damn dirty episode. Russell, thank you as always. Till next time, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me through Indiana Public Media, where I work as the on-air promotions producer for WTIU and WFIU, or more for sci-fi geekery. I am a sound designer and sometimes writer for Big Finish and their specifically Gallifrey series. And we've got a new series coming up, Gallifrey War Room, so check it out.
All right. Hashtag It's a Chimp by a Nose. And I am on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. Written work at whysobblue.com. Come see me at PopCon this weekend. I'll be there. My show is at 2 p.m. on Saturday with Jessica Alsman. We'll be having some fun. Come see us. There's more from the show this week, including a music video episode with Jessica on Friday, where you hear more about us being at PopCon. But from Old Space,
it's a madhouse.
All right.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.